Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today and welcome to my tunnel. So I got a couple of things I want to talk about on this video and I need your help. I need your help. So before I get into the nitty gritty, I am in the state of Tennessee. I'm now in zone 7B. I used to be 7A. So one of the first things I want to do is talk about growing zones and the recent change by the USDA, what a growing zone is and all that jazz, because I made a comment and you guys replied back and say, hey, talk about the growing zone. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to walk you around the tunnel and show you what's going on here to my surprise. And I need your help. Okay. So for those that are brand new to me, like I said, I'm in the state of Tennessee. Used to be zone 7A. Now we've been reclassified as zone 7B. So a little bit of history about the growing zones if you're a new gardener or don't even know what that means, or if you're an expert and you're like, hey, didn't know the zones change. So a couple of weeks ago, the zones change, and that is governed by the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. And so they split up the United States into 9 or 10 growing zones. I think it's 10, maybe 9. Anyway, 9 or 10 growing zones. And basically all the growing zone is that it looks at the average lowest temperature and classifies those by zones, right? So whatever your average lowest, the coldest that it gets in your area, that is a zone. So it has nothing to do with anything else, right? It doesn't mean where you are, what state you're in, what geographic region, whether it's the south, north, east, or west, has nothing to do with that. It only looks at what is the average lowest minimum temperature that it gets in terms of the weather. So we used to be in zone 7A. Now they just redid everything because, again, they're looking at data over the last, I guess, 10, 15 years or so, and the averages have changed over time. So they've kind of reclassified, right? Reclassified us. And if you go and look, you can go to pull up Google growing zone. You can put in your growing zone and your zip code. It'll tell you what growing zone you're in. It's just that simple. Or you can go to the farmersalmanac.com. Either way, Google, you can say, hey, Google, what's my zone and zip code 35111? And it'll tell you, right? And again, remember, it's only comprised of or compiled with the average lowest temperature that it gets in that area. So it's very possible that I can be in 7B in Tennessee and you could be in Michigan and be in 7B. And you may think, well, we have two totally different climates, right? We have two totally different, growing climates, but we're in the same zone. Again, because it looks at the average lowest temperature, right? And so it doesn't look at anything else. So even though Tennessee and Michigan could be in the same growing zone, it's just saying how cold does it get on average, what's the lowest it's going to go. And for us here in Tennessee, we don't get a lot of snow, right? We get snow, I would say on average 2 or 3 times a year, and I would call it more of a dusting. I think as long as I've lived in the South, maybe the most we've seen, I'm going to say 4 or 5 inches. And that's a stretch. And that doesn't happen every year, right? So it doesn't get, we don't have a lot of heavy snowfall. It does not get cold. I would say the average, and maybe I should have just looked it up. I don't know what the USDA says is our average low temperature. But I'll just tell you from living in this area in the South, I would say on average, the lowest it's going to get is around, 20, 25 degrees, somewhere along in that. And I even hate to say that that's average because it was that way this week. We had between 25 and 30 degree low temps, but for the next week or so, the lows are going to be like in the 40s and 50s. So, I mean, you know how the weather is. It's hormonal. It's temperamental. It does what it wants to do. So, when it comes to growing zone, again, there are things that I can plant in my winter that would be okay and would survive. Things that are frost tolerant. And then some things that are frost hardy that, depending on where you are and your growing zone, you may not be able to plant in the winter because it may just get downright too cold there, right? Okay, so first thing is, if you don't know what your growing zone is, just go Google it and look it up. That's number one. Now, about the change. Now, for me, I'm not going to do anything different than I've been doing, right? I haven't had a lot of time to go and like research the difference between 7A and 7B. But on general, I think it's just saying that, hey, we're tending more towards a little bit of the warmer side. And so you may be able to grow things that maybe, quote unquote, I wasn't able to grow before. So for example, let's take citrus, right? So last year, I didn't do it this year, but last year I bought like a lemon and a lime tree. And in my tunnel, it's not going to survive in the winter unless I heat my tunnel. And I have not heated my tunnel before. I have the capability to, but we don't have it all hooked up to where it's heated, right? So if it gets 20 degrees outside, it's going to be 20 degrees in my tunnel, right? It may be some degrees higher, again, if I've had it closed down and the heat has been trapped in. But large in part, me growing citrus in my tunnel over the winter without it being heated is not going to work, right? Because it gets a little bit too cold. Versus like the zone 8A, technically they can grow citrus, you know, all year round. Yada, yada, yay. So now that I'm in zone 7B, maybe it's saying I can grow citrus, but I'll tell you, to be honest, again, it is based on an average, based on an estimate. Going from one zone, 7A to 7B, I don't think it changes that much. Again, you can look and see how your zones change. And if you want to do something different, hey, more power to you. And again, you can test the limits. And that, you know, I do that a lot in my garden. So maybe I will put some citrus in here and just see what happens. I don't know. But large in part, it doesn't change anything that I'm doing. It doesn't change my growing season, like my last and first frost date. Those things don't change. So I can still grow whatever I want in the summer like I've been doing. And I still have the same long growing season. Okay. So that is a quick down and dirty explanation about what a growing zone is and what it means. But going from 7A to 7B to me is not that big of a deal. And I think most people that change kind of changed one zone. Meaning 7B went to 8A, 7A went to 7B, that kind of thing. It wasn't like 7A went to like 9, zone 9, or anything like that. So the other thing to think about is also when it comes to the growing zone and the lowest average temperature, that also gets you to start thinking about perennials, right? So mostly what I grow are annuals. That means I plant it in the summer or plant it in the fall, you know, we harvest it and then we're done, right? So for example, I plant tomatoes, they have a harvest and we're done. I'm not doing tomatoes in the winter. Why? Because it's not the climate for tomatoes in my zone in the winter. But when you think about things that are perennial, meaning they last all throughout the year or they come back again and again and again, that depends heavily on how cold does it get in your area, i.e. your growing zone, right? So think about some herbs that are perennials, like rosemary, sage. Like I still have sage in my tunnel right now and it's doing fine. I don't have any rosemary. I used up all my rosemary and then again, I used it all up. So I don't have any more rosemary. But like my eucalyptus is still doing fine. My dusty miller is still doing fine. Also think about other perennials that you can kind of grow outside as well. If your lowest temperature that it gets in your area is warm enough for that thing to thrive, survive, or whatever, then that can be a perennial in your area. But it may not be a perennial in my area, if that makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, put them down below. But that's like I said, the down and dirty on growing zones. Now, on to my topic number 2. Y'all, let me just tell you, I'm a little disappointed because I came in my tunnel earlier this week and I had some damage. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I just thought I'm good because it's the fall and it's the winter. I guess there was some little bit of that. So I was thinking that I didn't have to really worry about insects as much, especially now that it's cold. But there is something that has decimated my broccoli. And I have no idea what it is. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you, and then let's talk about it. And then if y'all have some help, some comments, put them down below. But let me show you what's going on. Okay, y'all look, this is my broccoli plant. Remember I just showed you this a few days ago and I had a head of broccoli. The head of broccoli is gone. You can kind of see this damage here. Let me just take you on up. The rest of the, like the leaves and stuff, look great. I go over here to the next one. Same thing. Same exact thing. The leaves look great, but you can see that the stems and stuff and my broccoli head is gone, like just completely decimated. I've looked on the back of the leaves. All the backs of the leaves look good. Like no issues. No issues whatsoever. Same thing with this one. You can kind of see it's like something is chewing, biting it, something. Y'all, what is that? So when I came out here, literally one day it was fine. The very next day it wasn't. And so there were like some, I'll try to insert a picture up here. There were like, it looked like almost like a couple of flies on it, but it looked like flies. Flea beetle, maybe, I don't know. I'll try to insert a picture because they're not on there now. And I'm like, did that little thing eat my broccoli? I have no idea. And so that was in the bed where the broccoli was, right? And it was fine. I mean, it was fine one day, not fine the next day. Pretty much the tunnel has been closed up. I have come out here in the daytime and opened this front door just because it gets so hot in here. Even it's been 40 degrees outside in the daytime, but it's been 100 degrees in the tunnel. So I've come and opened the door. So if it's an animal, they're coming in through the front door. But here's the thing. It is only the broccoli. That's it. So that's in one bed. The other bed that I had broccoli in that was a little bit more young is fine until I came out here yesterday, and let me show you that one. So this is the bed one on the left hand side that I planted broccoli. Showed you this again on the last video. There was not even any broccoli on this. But look, the stems, the same thing. Meaning the broccoli heads hadn't even grown yet because they're smaller. They're not even as mature. But something has, again, eaten the stems. All of them. But it's just the broccoli, nothing else. Everything else looks fine and good except the broccoli. Y'all, I'm perplexed. I have no idea what that is. And I'm surprised because I really thought, I mean, it's pretty cold outside. Remember, I've told you guys, hey, fall gardening is much easier. You don't have the pest pressure. You don't have the high intense pace. That's true. In my 3 years of growing broccoli, I've never seen that. And just to kind of let you know, in case you're new, I have never grown successful broccoli, meaning I've never been able to harvest it and put it up in my freezer. I've never grown enough. And we love broccoli. We eat broccoli every single week, right? I pulled out some out of the freezer this morning. And so I really want to grow broccoli, and the fresh broccoli tastes better, right? So every time that I've grown broccoli to date, like the first year, I didn't get anything. Last year I had broccoli heads. One day I had broccoli heads, they look fine. I come back a day or two later and they've gone to seed, or they've turned yellow, or they've rotted or something like that. So I didn't get a chance to harvest it and eat it because I was always trying to let it get bigger. So this year I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pull it a little bit sooner. And I had broccoli heads in that other bed, just real small, not even enough to pull. And now they're completely gone. And what I don't know is, should I just pull the whole plant up? Because I don't think it's gonna regrow. I don't think it's gonna regrow because when you normally when you have a successful broccoli and you get that one head, it doesn't grow another head. It just grows side shoots. So I don't even know. I just want to pull it up and just, I mean, of course I can start more seeds and start over, but I really want to know what it is. And yeah. And here's the thing. We were gone 2 weeks to Australia. The tunnel was wide open because it was warm here while we were gone. And you saw the video. The broccoli was fine. So I'm thinking if it was an animal, they had open access while I was gone. If it's an insect, why did the insect not come when it was warm? Like, it was warm here while we were gone. And it's been cold since we've been back. So I'm perplexed. I have no idea. Put something down if you've seen this before, put it down in the comments. Let me know. Give me some tips. I'm at a loss. But here's the other thing that I want to talk about in relation to that. is that when I say it's a journey, it really is a journey. And I just had to remind myself because I'm frustrated, I'm upset because I really want my broccoli. And when you first, at least for me, when you first moved to the country, I was a little antsy about, the bugs and, oh my goodness, ooh. Now I'm like defending my territory. I'm like, get out of here. This is my stuff. It's funny how you change, right? But when you start investing your time, your energy, and your money into growing food, it becomes personal. Like, you don't want anything to take your food because you've worked too hard for it. And so now some little something has come in and decimated my broccoli, and I'm mad. I'm like, who did this? So anyway, let me calm down. Here's my point, is that I've completed 3 years of gardening and I've never seen this. My point is that is why it's a journey, because I don't think, and again, I can't speak because I've only been doing it 3 years, but I don't think you ever master it, because there's things that we can control as gardeners. We can control the soil that we put in. We can't control the soil that's already there, right? If you're planting in the ground, we can control what amendments we put in. We can control what seeds we buy, what seeds we plant, but we cannot control insects. We cannot control the weather. And so there's always going to be a challenge. There's always going to be something to overcome. There's always going to be an obstacle. And I just had to remind myself of that this morning. It's like, hey, you said it's a journey. You have not yet arrived, girl. Like, you're not like where you're not going to have any issues. And just when I thought winter, man, no issues with insects, this is the first year I'm having some issues. Having some issues with something that I've never seen before in 3 years. And I have grown broccoli every single year. And so I say that to encourage you to keep going, keep pressing, and don't get into a place where you get so complacent, so confident that you feel like, hey, I got it. There's nothing else for me to learn. There's nothing else for me to do extra because I got this system down pat. I know how to grow this crop and it's going to produce every single year. It doesn't work that way all the time. And that's why when we have abundance, we have to be grateful and we have to preserve that abundance and be thankful for it, because the next year you may not have that in abundance, right? So this year I had a great tomato year. I had a great pepper year. But what if I don't have a good one next year? That's why you preserve. That's why you put up and make sure that you have the things that you need while you have a good crop going. Okay. So for those of you that are doing your fall and winter gardens, let me know how your gardens are going. I would love, love, love to know. Let me know if you're having any issues in your area or if things are going fantastic. So let me take you around a little bit more of the tunnel, because I did uncover the rows that I didn't show you the last time. So let me show you those rows as well. And then I got to get in here. I came down here to water. I'm usually watering like every 2 to 3 days, just because, in the wintertime, it doesn't need, in the fall, I should say fall, it's not winter yet. It's not nearly as hot. Now, it has been hot in the tunnel, but only for like an hour or two until I come down here and open it. And then the temperature cools down pretty significantly. But let me show you how the other stuff is looking that I didn't show you the other day. Okay, everything is uncovered now. You can see nothing but a sea of green. And overall, everything is looking great. There is the kale. There. You can see it's looking green and lush. And then down here, I wanted to show you this. I planted all of this before I left, but some of it didn't make it. You see there's some empty holes there. I think there's still some animal that's coming in just on this row. This obviously was covered, but I don't know. We found a hole before we left and my husband plugged it, but maybe he didn't plug it enough. So you can see there's some empty holes, but then like that one's fine. You see that one is not okay. That one's okay. So they got like 2 or 3, but overall it's fine. Here's the other row. You can see that's some broccoli rabe. So they're not eating the broccoli rabe, just the broccoli. And so I need some help on the broccoli rabe. This is my first time growing it. It gets like this, and then as you can see, it starts to bolt really easily. You can see that one is bolting, and I don't know why. I don't know why. So I don't even know what that one is. I didn't label this. I don't even know what that is. That one looks like it got some insect damage. But overall, this row is looking good. This is the part that you couldn't see the other time. And I don't know what this is. I do see some insect damage there and there. Like on that one, it's fine. You know what? Here's another one. That's broccoli. You can see the damage. Whatever it is, only likes broccoli. That's another one. Broccoli. That is the wildest thing to me. And I'm like, does the broccoli stem taste different than the kale stem? It's so wild. They have singled out the broccoli. And then you can see, I showed you this row before with the cabbages and stuff. And then this row over here are the greens. Okay, y'all, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. But this is all part of the journey. Sometimes things happen that you don't understand of what's going on, like what caused it. Remember we had the huge aphid infestation earlier this summer, and I had never had one of those before. So again, with every year, every season, there's always something to learn. And so that's the posture that I'm going to take, is that this is a learning experiment. And when I think about everything that's in here, all of my broccoli is gone. I think I'll start more seeds next week. And we'll go from there. But everything else is looking good, so no complaints. I'm grateful for what we have, and I will not complain about the broccoli. I'm seeking some justice. I'm seeking some justice for my broccoli, but I don't know who to be mad at. I don't know if it's an animal, insect. Y'all tell me who to be mad at, okay? Let me know who I need to go get. Y'all remember when, if you grew up with like older brothers and sisters, and somebody did something to you, and your brother would say, okay, who I need to go beat up? Like, who made you bad? Who made you cry? That's where I am. Who do I need to go beat up about my broccoli? Okay, y'all. That's it. I'm gonna water, and I think I'm gonna harvest. I'm not 100% sure. I may take you guys with me when I do the big harvest, just to see what all we have. It's about to start raining, so let me water, and then I'll go from there. But I hope that you guys are having a great growing season. If you're growing, if you're off this winter season, I hope that you're enjoying your time away, but also already thinking and planning about next summer. So remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. See you next time, friend. Bye for now.